looks like this week MAGA is ready for takeoff. All right, let's see what's going on this week. A huge blessing. So far this summer, 1.2 million people have now joined Truth Social. So you thought it was a quiet summer? No, there is a lot going on. And the summer is not yet over. And we're winning the media war. What do I mean by that? When you take a look at cable TV, all right, for the first time in history, the overall viewership of cable TV dropped below 30% in July. Why is this of note? Well, as the people stop watching cable TV, outlets like MSNBC and CNN lose their funding, right? A lot of people will go onto cable TV wanting just maybe HBO Max, or they just want to watch ESPN. But who gets a cut of the money? They all do. Even people who don't deserve it and who put out poor quality work like CNN, MSNBC. So as cable TV slowly dies, so does MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN. So this is huge. The mainstream media is beginning to very much weaken. And this fall is going to be different than any other fall. Why? Because this is the state of mainstream media this fall. This is what mainstream media looks like entering this fall. But conservative media has been growing and strengthening and just growing by leaps and bounds all summer. So what does the conservative media look like going into this fall? Okay, that's the conservative media. Nothing like Arnold.
Wow. Is that Arnold?
Yeah.
That is Arnold, yes, in his early days. What will conservative media be doing this fall? They are going to be helping people become awake politically, kind of like this picture. When you voted for Biden and refused to look at what he's doing, conservative media is there to help you see what's really going on. These are people that are asleep. This is the conservative media. All right, other great news. Take a look at this. The Writers Guild. Oh, it should say day 113. It's amazing what's going on with the Writers Guild strike. And it's not just a small little strike of the writers. That was something I missed earlier. Something unique happened on July 14th.
Right.
What happened on July 14th? You also had 160,000 actors under the Screen Actors Guild walk off and strike. They're all striking. So you have 171,500 people in television and movies. Everything is ground to a halt. And there's no clear end in sight. Well, one of the groups wants to sue Amazon and sue Disney, saying that they are, what was AT&T? They were sued way back in the day because they were, a monopoly, over monopolistic practices. So this is massive. There is nothing going on TV, and America is beginning to think through where she wants to go and who she wants to follow. This is a win, win, win. So my favorite number for today, 113. And it's not just in the television and in the media. Look where we're also winning. The culture war, especially when it comes to music. Last week we looked at the #1 song in the nation. Okay, it was by Oliver Anthony. Guess who occupies the #2 song in the nation? Oliver Anthony. Guess what he's singing about? Ain't got a dollar. He's singing about the economy and how poor it is under the Biden administration. It resonates with people. They are buying it like crazy. It's the #2 song. It's not Taylor Swift. It's not Madonna. It's a man named Oliver Anthony. Who has the #1 album? The #1 album is John Rich, very conservative country music star, a real hero on Truth Social, and very uniquely, neither John Rich nor Oliver Anthony have record deals. They don't have any fancy producer. They're not paying off people to sell it. This is what is resonating in the hearts of America. It is amazing. We are completely winning the culture war. We're also winning against woke companies. Who in particular? Well, Target. Target had to finally reveal how well they are doing or how poor they are doing in their quarterly report. They reported we have the first sales slump in 6 years. They had been on an upward trajectory of sales. Boom, they decided to go woke. They decided to really push Pride Month, and bam, they lost a huge amount of moms and dads who are never going back into that store. And they finally admitted it. They're like, this whole thing, the reason why we hit the sales slump was the negative reaction to Pride Month. So it matters. It matters where you shop even. And we're also winning in another place. We're winning in the polls. What's going on? Well, we have independents siding with President Trump over Biden in 2 exciting polls, neither of which like conservatives or like Trump. The National Public Radio, they hate Trump, and Harvard, which is no fan of conservative people, shows Trump crushing Biden by 8% in one poll, by what is that, almost 18% in another poll. It's amazing what's going on. Independents are liking Trump. Another big poll, they interviewed people saying, do you think President Trump has committed serious crimes? Yes or no? 71% said he hasn't committed any serious crime. That's amazing. So the nation is not believing all these charges against President Trump. Then we have a poll out of CBS. Read the headline. The headline was, CBS News poll finds Trump's big lead grows as GOP voters dismiss indictments. And look at the first sentence in their article. Well, there's no debate about this. Right now, the Republican Party would easily renominate Donald Trump for 2024, and it's not close. So the polls, what's going on with the polls are amazing. Even CNN had to comment on it. CNN's Harry Enton said, the polling indicates that Trump is, in fact, in a stronger position at this point than he was during the entire 2020 campaign. Hallelujah. Trump is steamrolling right now. And as you all know, the big news was he's not showing up in the first debate. Not coming. And not just to the first debate. He has publicly said, I'm not going to any of the debates. He says, I'm your man. America, I'm your man. And he is. And he dwarfs all the rest. Something that people, I've heard a few kind of talk like this. They may say, yeah, I'm concerned that Trump won't get enough votes in 2024. Everything seems so divided. Is that correct? No, it's not. In fact, the Republican Party's not divided at all. The Republican Party totally wants President Trump. Why? Because Trump is a conservative with a capital C. And I want to guide you back to what happened in 2016. First of all, the Republican Party is more conservative than you may think. Yeah, we have some bad rhino leaders. We got old Mitch McConnell, John Thune, Representative Kevin McCarthy, who couldn't seem to even impeach Hitler, if Hitler was a bad guy. He's unwilling to do much. We have some bad leadership that have worked their way through the primaries. But when given the choice to choose, the Republican Party really likes conservative people. Think back to the 2016 presidential primary for the GOP. It was the largest primary we ever had. They said the best field of candidates ever. We had 16 candidates, President Trump and 15 others. Question, who did we like in those primaries? How did we choose? Well, it wasn't a cakewalk for President Trump. When we hit Super Tuesday, all right, in February of 2016, Trump was only winning by about 5%. And even into March, it was still quite close. So let's say President Trump would get 100 votes. The second place finisher would get about 70. The third place finisher would get about 40 votes. So, and that's how it was for the first few months of the primaries. Trump would get 100, Second place 70, third place 40. Who was the second place and the third place finishers that I'm talking about? Senator Ted Cruz, the senator out of Florida.
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio. What's unique about these two people? Look at these numbers that are
Both
coming up
Hispanic.
now.
And they're
Third
conservative.
and 15th. What do those numbers mean? Senator Ted Cruz is the third most conservative senator out of all 100 senators in Washington, D.C., according to GovTrack 2022 Republican report cards, or senator report cards. 15th, Marco Rubio is the 15th most conservative senator out of all 100 senators in Washington, D.C. What does all this say? The Republican Party really likes conservatives when given a free choice. They like Ted Cruz, they like Marco Rubio, both of which were smart enough to stay out of this go-around in 2024. I'm sure they'll be back in the future. We'd be blessed to have either one, okay? And America loves them. They love Donald Trump, and they turned out in huge numbers for Trump in 2020. Why? Because of this. Promises made, promises kept.
That's right.
There has never been a politician like Trump that went in and did what he said he was going to do. He was a true outsider. How was he rewarded? Well, he had 63 million in 2016. Everyone who voted for him in 2016 came back again and voted for him. Even more people came over, more independents, more moderates, more swing voters. President Trump has even now went on record saying he believes the 74 million number is probably 10 million too low. He thinks he probably received another 10 million votes that were not included correctly.
Right.
At least.
So, what way is this going? President Trump is going to even build more and more higher numbers of votes. Just also remember in 2020, Trump won 18 out of the 19 bellwether counties throughout America that always tell the tale of who should win the presidency. Also, by the way, Trump won Ohio, he won Florida, he won Iowa by larger margins than the first time, and those three states always determine who the true president will be. So, to answer your question, can Trump get votes? He can get a lot of votes, more than any other candidate. And it's just true. Trump, oh, it's true. Even Meghan knows. Even Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, knows Trump won. All right, it's just that clear. So are the people still with him? You better believe they are. Look at how they followed him in the 2022 midterm. Trump endorsed 148 of the Republicans currently in the U.S. House. He endorsed 2/3 of the Republican majority in Congress. So Republicans totally like President Trump, and who President Trump endorses, the votes are going to be there. Look at what Newt Gingrich said back on the 14th. He said Trump will turn out a tidal wave of voters who are deeply alienated by what they see as corruption in Washington. With Trump as the nominee, the GOP wins the Senate, and this increases the number of seats in the House. Amazing.
It's going with the bad guys.
What do the Democrats feel right now? They feel fear. You look at their two flagship operations, the New York Times and the Atlantic. Look at the pieces they just turned out on the 21st. They, in their opinion column, and the New York Times is very picky about what they'll say about politics. Elections are bad for democracy. Oh, they're afraid. They're afraid of the tidal wave that's coming from the Republicans this 2024 election season. The very same day, the Atlantic, Americans vote too much. What? Fear.
No
I'm
one
telling
can
you,
be afraid.
absolute fear. The Democrat Party
They don't
is
know
very
seriously.
scared. So, we praise the Lord, okay?
Amen.
What do we have? Also, that's great news for this week. Sound of Freedom keeps climbing. Now, they're at 178 million at the box office.
Oh, yeah.
So much truth is coming out. So many people being made aware of important issues facing our country. More truth, in fact, is coming out regarding the COVID cover-up. Yes, we're talking about you, Dr. Fauci, okay?
Yeah.
What was one of the things you suppressed greatly? Well, ivermectin. And the studies about ivermectin helping COVID are finally coming out. You may not be able to read all this, but this talks about how the country of Peru had a great study done on COVID. What was unique about Peru, it has 25 states. In 10 of them, they started using ivermectin, boom, all at once, and they saw a great change. They said right after their time of peak deaths, they studied the next 30 days, and they said in those 10 states that used the ivermectin, they had a 74% drop in COVID deaths. It's amazing. And they compared it across all 25 states, but they said, man, the reduction in the deaths correlated closely with the extent of ivermectin use. And this is reported in quite a few news outlets, Kim Iverson, and then the big ones out on Twitter, The Vigilant Fox,
Yeah.
Citizen Free Press, and Chief Nerd. Great places to go if you're looking for medical truth. Other truth being given to the nation, which we praise the Lord about, is through Tucker Carlson, who recently interviewed Colonel Douglas Macgregor. So they're talking about the war in the Ukraine, the side that the mainstream media will never tell you. What did Colonel Macgregor have to say? He said, pretty much everything that NBC News and the New York Times have told you about the war in Ukraine is a lie. They will claim things like, oh, the Russian army is incompetent, they claim. The Ukraine is a democracy. Vladimir Putin is Hitler, and he's trying to take over the world, they claim. They'll claim, thankfully the Ukrainians are winning. He says, none of that is true. He said, every claim is false. He said, the last one especially, the Ukrainian army is not winning. In fact, it's losing badly. Ukraine is being destroyed. Its population is being slaughtered in lopsided battles with a technologically superior enemy, or scattered by the millions to the rest of the globe as refugees. Ukraine is running out of soldiers. So it's very interesting to see how Colonel Macgregor sees what's going on, and Tucker Carlson is helping to wake the nation up to things that you might not catch on mainstream media. Now looking towards the good news of what's going on with the 2024 general election. What's happening in the nation that's going to change how that plays out? Well, Joe Biden doing his very best. Maybe you've heard of Robert L. Peters by now, right? This, we found out on the 17th of August, was his shady email name. Biden used this name and taxpayer dollars while vice president to set up an offshore-style email server based in the White House to route all of his emails regarding his and Hunter's business dealings with the Chinese, the Ukrainians, and others, all under the name Robert L. Peters. Do you want to see how much in the tank the mainstream media is for President Biden? Look at this next chart. They totally blacked out any story regarding that. Here we have ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC. Look how many minutes they gave to that story of the fake email server name of President Biden. Nothing. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Biden also, and this is huge, that'll play out somewhat in the general election in 2024, but what's coming next, he will not be able to get rid of. And that is what he's doing with Hawaii. What did he do? Well, he started by taking 2 vacations before even going to Hawaii to try to oversee the tragedy. Then he decides to give those who lost everything a measly $700. Then, when he went to Hawaii, he cracks a joke about the ground on Maui being hot. He goes, that's some hot ground here. Just odd. Then he compared the Maui fire carnage, which killed 100+ adults and children, to a minor kitchen fire in his house that he had one time that even threatened his nice Corvette.
Evil.
Then he fell asleep during a meeting with the Maui victims. It's almost like he is wanting people to not vote for him. Remember, a lot of Democrats are elected based on who is running at the top of the ticket. This is hurting Democrats from the top of the ticket all the way down. And he's doing this, it's amazing. They had a picture of him after he returned to the White House after this, and you see even General Washington not able to process what's going on. Also, what will really affect the coming election is the fact that the U.S. economy is terrible. And Democrats and independents are going to cross over. They're going to vote Republican. What are we seeing in the news? Well, according to Breitbart, nearly half of parents struggle to afford diapers. It's not good out there. And these moms are going to start waking up and realizing we can't have Democrat leadership. CNN had to mention, as rent inflation remains sticky, rising mortgages are fueling the worst affordability crisis in housing in 40 years. Look at the Pew Research Center. What is the number one issue on the hearts of American voters? Inflation. What's the number two issue? Affordability of health care. It's about the money. It's about money, and people are waking up. And so all these things are going to greatly tilt in favor of conservatives and will play out greatly at the polls. Another huge thing, I'll say almost an earth-shaking thing, is what's coming tomorrow, because look what came today. Here's the mug shot of the arrest of Rudy Giuliani today. The best mayor in the history of New York City,
Amen.
the one who eradicated all the crime, the one who brought law and order.
Yep.
They indict him. And tomorrow morning, when they do this to President Trump, it will be like rocket fuel for MAGA. It's going to generate a very strong emotion, and it's going to bring people to the polls like you have never seen. Even this little dog knows. When you can be indicted for saying there's election fraud, there's election fraud. Everybody knows. All right, and so we also have the 2020 election is not going away. The news media wants it to go away. It's not going away at all. Look at Searcy County in Arkansas. They approved a resolution now to switch to take paper ballots for elections. I think others are going to follow suit after them. Also, we have something really unique. The Gateway Pundit found this out, that the O'Keefe Media Group is going to drop an explosive update on this illegal voter registration in Fulton County, Georgia. They said stay tuned on this one. It's going to be very interesting, very interesting. Also, you got Bill Barr now linked to the Muskegon, Michigan voter fraud scandal. This stuff is not going away. Even during the Mike Lindell conference, they report on something very unique, and that is people are increasingly asking about the 2020 election now that these indictments are flying around for questioning elections. People are beginning to talk about it. In fact, something big happened on the 14th. You had the conclusion of a year-long research project. It was led by Sophie Anderson, an election integrity investigator, and a communications engineer, Dr. Charles Bernardin. What did they discover? They discovered and showed that there is a nationwide cellular network that connects election equipment and currently gives the government access to election systems at the precinct level. So this stuff is not going away. And what's the praise? The praise is election integrity is remaining a major focus in America. And that brings us to the great news of what happened during the Mike Lindell Election Summit. What was the big takeaway? What was the great news? The great news was what he and his engineers and the software developers are going to be able to bring forth in this coming election. They're calling it the WMD. It's basically a wireless monitoring device. This little thing is about kind of the size of just like a small bar of soap that could fit in your hand, and it's going to be a total game changer. It will detect and report in real time the Wi-Fi connections all around the voting precinct. All the internet routers and access points are going to be able to be read by this thing, reported, as well as any device to which they connect. It's going to have the starting point and the ending point of what's going on. So voters will now have the ability to police the election systems and see if they are online. I don't think everyone can afford it. The cost will be around $500, but you better believe in the swing states, they're going to buy those things up. They work outside of buildings up to 100 yards away. You don't have to be in the building.
Wow.
And they had two technical advisors comment on it. The first begins to show his credentials. He said, I retired as an IT administrator. I was responsible for 6,500 desktops, laptops, and printers, all connected to a wide area network that I designed. Not to mention hundreds of servers, routers, thousands of miles of copper and fiber. In my spare time, I taught information technology at UC Davis. It's with this as my qualifications that I state the following. That WMD device will be the biggest technological breakthrough in election fraud detection since the introduction of the walkie-talkie.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
This thing is, it's got, how to put it, I think it has the Democrats really afraid, especially the ones that Mickey Mouse around with those voting servers. Also, Sam Thiessen said, having considerable experience in the IT community myself, particularly working in the old Bell system, I can say with a high level of certainty that you are correct, sir. WMD has the potential to literally save the world from domination by leftist radicals by preventing them from capturing the election apparatus of democratic societies. So the engineers are like, this thing will work. This thing is very powerful. It'll connect to a server of Mike Lindell's, probably other servers as well. It'll show, this is just an example of some of the different data points that can come off a single building, who it is, where it's going. Also very positive, and why election integrity is going to be at the forefront, is the fact that Mike Lindell's group is growing. It's growing in numbers, in strength, in resiliency, and hope. Remember, he was totally cut off every social platform about a year and a half ago. Where's he at right now? He's smoking, man. He's at 871,000 followers on Truth Social alone. Then you add his followers on Twitter, on Instagram, and the fact that he has frank speech, which has continual TV programming and videos, not to mention coordinating now with Charlie Kirk. Praise the Lord, Seth Keshel, a great fighter, Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, Stephen Bannon in the War Room, Lou Dobbs, the Raccoon Army. It's a formidable group. The Raccoon Army, again, they are the 13,000 that are your software developers and your geeks and your computer programmers. And they put out little ads like this, you know, join us on the front lines of the digital battlefield. They're in it to win it. It's exciting. It's going to be an exciting fall. What else is going on?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Latino voters are turning conservative.
Yes.
You know, Myra Flores had an interesting thing that she said back in July. She goes, if you want me to describe Latino voters, they would be pro-God, pro-family, and all about hard work. The three things that the Democrats are against, okay?
Yeah.
And you think about Latina moms. Latina moms, what's going on? They are seeing their values absolutely trashed by the Democrat Party. They see the foolishness of the southern border. They see all their hard-earned dollars wasted due to high prices and sending it over to the Ukraine. They continue to see Democrats push abortion, which goes against Latino belief. They continue to see Democrats trying to brainwash their children that there are more than two genders. And they continue to see the Democrats act like a Latin American dictator who jails his political opponent.
Exactly.
So what's going on? This is what's going on. The percent of Latina women voting for Trump in 2016 was 25%. In 2020, it rose to 30%. Guess where it's going in 2024? It's going way higher. And that's great news. I saved the best news for all. If you want maybe the best news of the entire summer, is what went down last Thursday night. Black voters are turning conservative, and this summer of 2023 is when the fire was lit. What am I talking about? Last Thursday on the Breakfast Club, they are the big show out of Power 105, New York City.
That.
Who did they have on? They had on Larry Elder. I'm talking Charlemagne and DJ Easy had on Larry Elder. And it was like Larry Elder was anointed by God on this interview. It was amazing. Now, a little background. You have to understand Charlemagne, okay? Who is Charlemagne? Well, he's known as the prince of making people angry, the ruler of rubbing you the wrong way, and the architect of aggravation. He is a shock jock. Rolling Stone has labeled him, he is hip hop's Howard Stern. What is their program like? It's very liberal. It's very left. And for 50 minutes, Larry Elder goes to town in a loving, direct, and respectful way. It was just like watching movie actor Denzel Washington breaking down conservative values to a teenage boy. It was awesome. It was awesome. What did they talk about? They talked about Trump, Biden, systemic racism, the number one problem of Black America, what they felt that was, the state of Black America. They talked about accountability and potential, and it was glorious. So this was just 6 days ago. 639,000 views in 6 days. But that's not the big thing. The big thing is the buzz in the Black American community on YouTube as a result of this. Look at what they're doing. Look at the Officer Tatum. In 6 days, 600,000 people tuned in to he for an hour and about an hour and 10 minutes talked about Larry Elder. He goes, I have been waiting all my life for this. He goes, the Breakfast Club, they're going off emotions and not logic. They're hypocrites. And Larry's going to point that out. I think I could make 25 videos about this. Awesome. Okay, look at Kingdom Reacts. What do you have to say? He goes, Larry Elder destroys the Breakfast Club by refusing the black victim mentality. And I can't even write some of the words they have, but how dare you criticize Larry Elder, who's able to look at stuff objectively and not subjectively like some victim. Black people need to abandon ship with the Democrats. So he is just simply talking about Larry Elder's interview. How many people listen to Kingdom Reacts? 449,000 people in 5 days. This thing is hitting like a freight train. Larry Elder did not just start one fire on the internet. He started Canadian forest fires all over the internet. This thing is on. It's on like Donkey Kong. For comparison's sake, I'm talking numbers, just numbers now. Think of CNN. CNN had a bad April, we'll admit. They would average about 335,000 viewers during their 3-hour primetime block. 335,000. He was at 600,000 in 6 days. He was at 450,000 in 5 days. And the beautiful thing of YouTube is, it gets higher. If you post it on Monday, the number of viewers on Tuesday is what? Higher. On Wednesday, higher. Thursday,
Higher.
higher. Yeah. It's amazing. Okay, look at DJ Academics. He goes, Unc was ready. Uncle Larry Elder was ready. He gave him the business, schooling him for 50 minutes, schooling Charlemagne. How many people listened to DJ Academics talk about it and break down the interview? 252,000 people over 3 days clicked on his comments. Look at Nate the lawyer. He said, great interview. And he talks about his views on, he was so happy a conservative was there. 117,000 views in 5 days.
Yep. Awesome.
Anthony Brian Logan. He goes, all of what Larry Elder said was facts. A lot of what I heard from the Breakfast Club was emotion and trying to get you on the gotchas. Not really the way to go. 143,000 people. And this isn't like he made a comment. He put out, these people put out between 20-minute to like an hour-long videos talking about what Larry Elder broke down and what he explained and what the truth he poured out. But Kendall reacts. I don't even know this guy. I mean, I don't. This is his picture of him in the driveway with his car. He said, "Yeah, Larry Elder exposes the Breakfast Club. He told Charlemagne you're being a hypocrite." 76,000 people in 5 days clicked on Kendall Reacts. It's not just guys too. Look at KJ and Shelly D. They have a small little YouTube channel, right? It's called Pop and Politics. Not a whole lot of views on most of their videos. One video had 1,700 views. One had 264 views, 849 views, 483 views. So they decided to comment on Larry Elder and the state of Black America and what's going on politically. 61,000 views. 1,500 comments. It's amazing. You got Van from LFR Family, because Larry Elder's one of the coolest cats in the land. In this video, a black conservative perspective does his thing. And the most awesome quote of all was from Anton Daniels, what he shared with us. I want you to take a deep breath, because what he's going to give is nuclear. I read through all of the comments on the Breakfast Club site where the video was posted. I was really expecting a lot of people to be on the side of the Breakfast Club. Everyone was on the side of Larry Elder. This is the Breakfast Club out of New York City, a huge leftist station. And what are their viewers saying? This is new to us, but we're agreeing. We're agreeing with this conservative stuff. This stuff is ringing true in our spirit. 121,000 in 6 days. Even on Twitter, you got Malachi Maxey on the 16th. Before the Elder interview even went down, what was he saying? He says black people will vote for Trump in large numbers. So what's really going to happen? Look at this, the black men in general. 2016, 14% voted for Trump. Jumped up, massive jump, 6% in 2020. Where do you think it's going to go right now in 2024? It's going way higher, way higher. And so for that, we are grateful. We're grateful for anyone waking up to conservative values. And there is a firestorm right now going on the internet.
Thank you.
And you're saying, Lawrence, are you looking at this objectively? Are you sure you're reading this right? Just 72 hours after the Larry Elder interview, the Biden campaign announced a $25 million ad buy to target Hispanic and black voters. They know it's a 5-alarm fire. And that is the good news for this week. So let's give the Lord a hand clap.